presented a catastrophic event that happened within 2 hours from this current location. These statistics right here occurred at an event that was in Oklahoma City. Hello, I'm Keck Jones, and today I will be discussing a catastrophic event that affected 4 lives. So the first boom. So the Manhattan Project was a project that was put in order by President Clinton, I believe, and it was directed by General Leslie R. Groves and J. Robert Oppenheimer. They were both engineers at the time, and they were leading the project. Their initial goal was to target Germany during World War II, but I think they wound up dropping it on Japan. And hundreds of mathematicians, scientists, and engineers contributed with the efforts of creating this. Okay, so these 4 people right here, further in the speech, I will tell you how they affected each other, but they crossed each other's paths in a significant day in history. So the first one, Timothy McVeigh. He was born April 23rd, 1968 in Lockport, New York. His home life consisted of his parents divorced when he was 10 years old. His school life, he was bullied all of his life. And although he had a rough life getting through school, he did enlist in the Army, and he was a top gunner during his infantry time. Terry Nichols. He was born in Lapeer, Michigan on April 1st, 1955. He was a normal old farm boy. He didn't really do much. He loved playing with animals and stuff like that. Viola Battle. She was born September 13th, 1938 in Luther, Oklahoma. She was an African American who was just an everyday girl. Her and her husband, they were married for over 39 years. Arlene Blanford. She had just came back from serving in our military. She had just been here for 9 days, and she was planning on attending college after the couple days. So on April 19th, 1995, all 4 of their lives crossed paths.
The work of terrorists. All went off just as hundreds of people had showed up for work, just as children had been dropped off at a daycare center on the 2nd floor. In one devastating moment, the whole front side of the building was ripped away. There is simply no way to be specific about how many people have lost their lives, but the death toll is clearly increasing as the hours go by and emergency teams work their way through the devastation. We do know that 17 children were killed in the daycare center, others injured. It was easy to see why the governor of Oklahoma said this was the work of animals. Our first report is from Aaron Hayes, who is on the scene.
Okay, so I'm going to walk you through kind of the timestamp. So at 9 a.m., a 4,800-pound truck bomb was planted underneath that building in particular. And at 9:02 a.m., the bomb exploded and it created a 30-foot wide, 8-foot deep crater. Okay, next one. So those are some of the pictures of the aftermath that the first responders had to come encounter with. Okay, so the aftermath. 168 people were killed, 324 buildings were destroyed, and over $600 million was created with that truck bomb. And this is a picture of what the building looked like after the fact. Okay, so here are 2 quotes from people's family members who died or because of this bomb. The first one says, "This is not a time for celebration. A man's life is being taken from him. It's something that we wanted, and it's not done out of revenge. It's because we felt it was necessary." And this was said by Janie Curdell. Her 2 grandsons died in the bombing. And then the second one says, "There's no such thing as closure for people who lost family in the bombing. The only closure is when they close the lid on my casket." That is said by Darlene Welch, and her 4-year-old niece was killed in the bombing as well. Okay, so Viola Battle. This is my first testimony from her, or from her family. Gil Battle was 51 years old. She was, of course, in Oklahoma City.
2 minutes.
She made friends wherever she went. She said her daughter, Jeanette Battle said her mother and father, Calvin Battle, had gone to the Murray Building to apply for disability assistance for Calvin, who recently had suffered a stroke. Since her husband could not drive, Keola drove him to his appointment. Calvin also was killed in the bombing. Jeanette Battle described her as a Christian lady who attended Greater Mountain Carmel Baptist Church. Jeanette Battle said her mother and her father raised 4 daughters, including herself, and this was for Oklahoma City National Memorial. So this is the second testimony. Arlene Blanchard, like I said before, she was planning on attending college when she came back from the military. She was just 9 days being out, and luckily she was a survivor. She said, I was about 20 feet away from the blast. I was sitting right by the window. All I remember is the presence of the Lord covering me like a soft blanket in the midst of all that trauma. This is said by Morrison of 2015. Okay, so the first suspect, or criminal if you will, Terry Nichols. He was an accomplice to the attack. He wasn't the leader, but he was part of it. He helped plan it. He went on, as he got convicted on June 4th, 1998, he went on to
40 seconds.
He went on to tell one of the ladies whose daughter had died in the explosion that he thought that they were just going to blow up a historical monument. He didn't know that they were going to blow up a major building. And she went on to forgive him for that. And on May 26, 2004, he was convicted of 161 consecutive life terms for 161 murders. Next. Okay, so Timothy McVeigh, this is the leader of the attack. On June 2nd, he was convicted of 161 counts of murder and sentenced to lethal injection. So on June 11th, 1997, he died. Okay, so because of this major attack, the government put in some laws, and this including a large building law, which stated that every large building had to consist of a shock-resistant barrier and a deep structure setbacks to minimize vulnerability to bombs, and a chemical tangents law, which was placed in dynamite so bombs can be tracked back to manufacturers once exploded. Next one. Okay, so in conclusion, this tragic event affected many people's lives, and these people just were going about their everyday life, and they didn't know what was about to happen. So you have to live your life like it's your last and not take anything for granted.